All right. So I'll go ahead and introduce myself again. Again, my name is Kristen Mitchell. Torachini Nishle, Hanagahni Bashishchin, Maideshkajin Dashache, Auto, Kia Ani Dashanele. I'm from Chinle, but I currently live in Chandler, Arizona. I've been with the Johns Hopkins University Center for Indigenous Health since 2018, and I currently work as a mental health program specialist. But for this upcoming camp, I am one of the camp directors. I'm from Chinle, so I know the community pretty well. Alumni from Chinle High School. And so, yeah, so that's a little bit about me. Again, I'm one of the camp directors, and I'll go ahead and pass it on to Barb Harvey.
Thank you, Chris. Good evening, everyone. Whether you're a parent, a grandparent, a trusted adult, an older sibling, we're welcoming everyone into our space this evening. Like Kristen said, my name is Barbara Harvey. Tkobanchle, my dishkijni bashishchin, tkatnizatni dashiche, ado tkutsohni dashanale. Originally born and raised in Lucachicay, Arizona, but currently living in Navajo, New Mexico. I've been there for 5 years now. I've been with the Johns Hopkins Center for Indigenous Health for 6 years as of July. Really great work, working a lot with the youth. So I see some familiar names. I wish I could see some familiar faces, but I know we're all shy. It was a long day at work. We were all busy. So it's really good to see you all here, and hopefully we interact not only with your child, but you as well during these camp drop off and pick up times, but also other times as well. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to my colleague, Brittany.
Good evening, everybody. So Shay, Brittany Begay Nisha, Tachini Nishla, but Daphne Bashishchin, Toligini Dashiche, Jose Tachini Dashanella. I am from Round Rock, Arizona, but I currently live in Forest Lake, which is close to Pinon, and I am one of the camp director for this camp. I've been with the center for a little bit, close to 5 years. And I'm very excited to meet all the kiddos that we're gonna have this summer. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to one of us. And so yeah, so it's nice to meet everybody. And as Barb said, I do see some names that look familiar from our past programs. So yeah.
All right. Thank you, Brittany. Um, Hopefully it is now full screen. Brittany, can you give me a thumbs up? Because I only see you right now. Is it full screen?
It's full screen.
Okay, thank you. All right, so our other camp director is Marlena Hammond, and Marlena works with the center as well, and works out of the Baltimore office. So parents, if you're dropping off and picking up students, you'll also get to meet Marlena Hammond. And Marlena brings a lot of experience through NativeVision. I'll kind of talk a little bit about what NativeVision is and what Hozho Horizon is, just to give a little bit of a background for that. So, but I first want to talk about how we got to this camp. The camp is really one of our grant initiatives under our Project Aware Wildcats partnership, also known as PAWS, our partnership with the Chinle Unified School District. And one of our, again, big objective of this year was to host a summer camp for all ages, all grades actually, from K through to 12th grade. And we also invited students and youth from outside of the Chinle Unified School District for this camp. One of the things that Project Aware Wildcats, or PAWS, brings to the Chinle community within the school district is mental health awareness, especially for family connections, making those familial connections and youth connections to mental health resources and the community interventions and programs and resources. So with that in mind, brought together this idea of utilizing the NativeVision curriculum as well as Hozho Horizons curriculum. So Hozho Horizons is its own separate program that Barb can talk more about soon. But it's just kind of just, building upon those two curriculums, in addition to the Y Tri curriculum. So if you are on as a parent from Chinle Unified School District, you know that within the school district there is Y Tri curriculum that's being implemented from kindergarten through 12th grade. So we're bringing a little bit of the social emotional learning elements, in addition to incorporating a little bit of the cultural aspect and cultural well-being practices that we have in our community. So really it's a mix of all of those. And that's what we're bringing to our summer camp next week, in addition to 4 sports. So volleyball, basketball, lacrosse, and disc golf. So it's going to be very exciting. We have, I think today our number was about, what was it, Brittany, 164? Around that number of registered campers so far, and it's only going to grow. So, yep. So, a little bit about NativeVision. NativeVision has been around since 1996 and has been a part of the center way back when we had volunteer professional coaches from professional football teams, and their players to kind of assist in like football and lacrosse and other sports. And so that's kind of just grown into expanding to our Southwest sites, including Tuba City. I think Chinle, our site at Chinle did do a little bit of it way back when, but we're bringing it now again next week as a camp that will include all of the other 2 curriculums. So I'll go ahead and give it to Barb to just do a little bit of a rundown of Hozho Horizons and motivational interviewing.
Right. Thanks, Chris. So Hozho Horizons actually emerged through working with our community advisory board as well as our youth advisory board. So the name didn't come from us directly here at Johns Hopkins. It came from a collaborative work with these 2 groups, where the parent, trusted adult caregivers, and the youth were able to come together and come up with this name. It really just reflects, like Hozho, of course, it's like beauty, wellness, health, and well-being. And then Horizons is, looking, when we think about horizons, we're looking into whether it's the sunset or the sunrise, and there's like new beginnings. It's another day. So really walking into another day of really promoting that health and wellness with young children. That's where that came about. Specifically with our program, we're focused heavily on teen birth rates, STI prevention, pregnancy prevention. And a part of our initiative with Hozho Horizons is we are hoping that Native youth, we're focusing on Native youth and STI risk reduction programming. It really does continue to be one of the greatest needs across the entire Navajo Nation. So we're working in partnership with University of Montana, excuse me, and we're trying to create evidence-based prevention strategies for Native youth on Navajo Nation, to again cover and talk about pregnancy prevention, sexually transmitted infections. So when we talk about all those, a part of our grant is we have to fulfill a specific part, and that's a sports camp in both Shiprock and Chinle. So this Chinle camp is going to be our 2nd year we're doing a camp, and that's fulfilling that summer of 2025. We had Shiprock's camp back in June, mid-June, about 3 weeks ago. It went great. We had a lot of students, did the virtual Vision of You program, and now we're bringing it over to Chinle to do more of the motivational interviewing. And that one is just a patient-centered, it's like a counseling / interview session where we really give it back to the youth to strengthen their motivation and help them make that positive behavior change. So that's one of the other things that we're going to implement into the camp this coming summer. So do expect a little bit of that to come on our end. There's 3 different things we have going on with the sports and all that good stuff that's going to happen, arts and crafts. So we'll talk to you a little bit more about that. But all of it is collaborative. We're all working together in one way or another to help our youth benefit from a lot of this information that we're trying to share, and what best way to give it out in a summer camp where we have them there, full attention, be able to share this with them. It's centered on them, completely goal oriented. So we're super excited. But that's what motivational interviewing and teen pregnancy prevention program is doing with the summer camp.
And we'll talk more in depth about where these curriculum fit in and the daily schedules a little bit later. But I hope that you guys are seeing on your screen last year's Hozho Horizon Summer Camp photo. Do you guys see that? Barb can give me a thumbs up if that's, yep, okay, great. All right, so moving on. This is our table of contents for tonight's meeting. We will talk more about staffing. Who are your kids going to be interacting with throughout each day? We'll talk about that. We will discuss the locations. The locations right now, we have 2 schools, so we'll discuss which grades will be at which school. And we'll dive into giving more details about the activities before leading into the schedule. So each school will have a different schedule, and we'll talk more about that. Another thing that Barb will discuss and go in more detail about is transportation. Good thing to know is that we are utilizing the Chinle Unified School District's transportation, so their services are really dependent on what they could do. So Barb will talk more about what those routes look like. We'll also talk about rules and expectations in terms of, parents. Once we get to that part of it, we highly encourage that whoever you registered, you're sitting down with them and sharing this information. So, and then we'll talk about emergencies and medical support, medical staff. This is going to be crucial. So at the end, we'll also leave Q&A because I'm sure that, again, as a parent, there's many things, right, that we want to make sure we ask, and so that we feel a little bit better coming into camp for next week. Okay, so again, this is being recorded, so we'll share the link for the recording with you all through email. All right, so I did mention our camp directors. So we have 4 camp directors, myself, Marlena Hammond, Barb, and Brittany. So those are our 4 camp directors. Really, our roles as camp directors is to provide overall vision, leadership, and decision-making for the camp. Our programming would, as we mentioned before, we have some directives, right, around all the different programs that are kind of combining camp together. And so we just want to make sure that we're ensuring a good balance, cultural respect, and safety for everybody. We are overseeing all staff and facilitator coordination. We're also going to be the ones to handle serious incidents and/or emergencies, and we'll talk more about that later. We're also ensuring compliance with safety, health, and reporting protocols. We'll talk about that again a little bit later, but it's a good thing to know that, again, we are in partnership with the school district, so we are abiding by school district policies in terms of safety protocol and whatnot. So just please note that, understand that. They have given us the okay to utilize their facilities. So we just want to make sure that everything goes smoothly and there's no damage or anything like that to that. So we'll talk more again about that. Next up are our facilitators and co-facilitators. So your child, these are the group of folks that your child will be transitioning with throughout the day. They are overseeing the facilitation process through NativeVision and YTRI by ensuring consistency in discussions, answering questions that maybe your kids have, and encouraging youth reflection. Youth reflection is something we are always trying to encourage because, students have a mind of their own and they will tell you right then and there, like, we don't like this, we like this. And so we're taking that feedback too to better ourselves if in case we want to do another camp in the future for students in the community. So as parents, again, I would encourage you to go back and share this information with your kiddos to let them know that they can answer questions. They shouldn't feel shy. And all facilitators should be supportive in that process. They're also going to monitor students and ensure smooth transitioning throughout the day. When we get to the schedules, I'll show you what that would look like. They'll be ensuring camper safety, maintaining positive, respectful, and productive classroom environments. And I put this note here for all staff, not just facilitators, co-facilitators, coaches, but also us camp directors and our support staff, that everybody on our team, everybody who's setting foot on both the junior high campus and the high school campus, we have all been Arizona fingerprint cleared. So we have that on our, in terms of like our data reporting, things like that, that is all, we're backed by that. So a few of our facilitators and co-facilitators are center staff, Johns Hopkins staff. Some are also Chinle Unified School District staff, and some are also Arizona Certified Teacher Volunteers. So sometimes as parents, that's helpful to know. Coaches. We have coaches for each sport. Again, our sports are volleyball, basketball, disc golf, and lacrosse. For coaches, their responsibility is to plan and lead sports and recreational activities, adapting to campers' skills and interests, provide instruction, demonstrate techniques, and offer feedback to help youth improve their skills. They are also going to be supervising the youth during other activities, during lunchtime, transitions, all of that. And they're also working with us for any type of emergency care, like injuries related. They'll work with us and our medical staff, and they are also Arizona fingerprint cleared. We do have some past coaches on our roster from last year's camp, in addition to current CUSD coaches and past Chinle Unified School District players. And so Barb, I think I'll kind of like pass this to you because we wanted to give like a shout out to some of our coaches that we have on our roster for this year.
Yeah, thanks again, Chris. I don't know if a lot of you have social media, but we recently highlighted our volleyball crew. So the coaches who are going to be coming in to do volleyball, they were highlighted on there. A lot of local coaches, some of them have played for like Chinle High School and some of the other local high schools. Some of them are from the community, or a lot of them are. And then some of them are coming in from like Phoenix and other places. So it's really exciting to have the volleyball coaches come together and just be able to hear the excitement in their emails and their phone calls and all that to be working with your youth. But also some of the youth have expressed like, wow, volleyball, I'm so excited for that. But we also have basketball. Basketball, again, we have people coming in from Phoenix, Albuquerque. They're coming into Chinle. They're going to spend the week there, and they're making these commitment for, your child, our children, because I have three who are also coming to camp. They're doing it for them. A lot of them are like, I'm ready to camp out at Chinle Canyon de Chelly in order to spend an entire week with these young people and teach them what I know. Really sharing their life lessons, like what they learned through sports, what they went through, academics, like school, sports, the hardship, but also the highlighting the best parts of it to really encourage the youth to become physically active, but also, that some of the students might find that, I didn't know I was really interested in volleyball. It could spark something in them to take on an educational career slash, whatever they want to do of like interest. It could spark something in that interest within them. And then we also have an individual for basketball coming in from New Zealand. So what more can we say? How far across the country do we need to go to bring people in who are excited to work with our Native youth? New Zealand is not an easy trip to make, but we have an individual coming in from there. So she's super excited to work with our Native youth, and she comes from a Native community as well. We are hoping that our youth can learn from her just as much as we know that she's going to learn from your child, our children. And then we also have individuals coming in from Seattle. So our lacrosse team we have a team that we're bringing in from there. Everybody's like, "What's lacrosse?" And we're going to talk a little bit about that. But we have a coaches coming in from Seattle as well. We're super excited about that. Not only local past coaches, but current coaches and coaches who are not from here. But again, assure you all, everyone is Arizona fingerprint cleared. So they worked hard. They put in the footwork to be able to come out and work with our children. So we're super excited about that.
Yeah, and just on the topic of staffing, we had a staff meeting today at 2 p.m., 2 to 3, 3:30, and we went over all camp rules and all of that. So all of our camp staff are now well oriented for camp next week. All right, so a few of you may know, where's my child going to be, and some of you don't. So we wanted to put this slide on here. So we have two camp locations for next week. Kindergarten through fifth graders, they will be at the Chinle Junior High School, and 6th to 12th graders will be at the Chinle High School. School contacts. If you want to take out your phone at this time, you're more than welcome to and take a photo of this slide. We'll also share this slide with you folks through email so that you guys also have it in addition to the recording. But we have several folks that parents, guardians can contact at any day, any time. For the high school, I will be the point of contact. So my number is there. You're more than welcome to text or call. And then we have a camp nurse, Starla Garcia, who will also be at the high school. Her number is there. And then we have Chloe Hurley, who is also a center staff, is also assisting as a camp nurse. One thing I want to highlight for parents, for those kiddos that you have at the high school, again, grades 6 to 12, Chloe Hurley will be our camp nurse for Monday only, and then Starla Garcia will come on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So I just wanted to just make that note. For the junior high, the point of contact there is Vanessa Bigay. Her number is listed there. And then our camp nurse at the junior high is Katie Nelson. We will also have two Chinle Unified School District nurses on our team to assist for any injuries, things like that. For the high school, it'll be Cheryl Frank, and then for the junior high, it will be LaQuinta Francis Mitchell. I just didn't put their contact information on here because we would like to, our center staff would like to be the ones to kind of communicate things, but for those like medical assistants and things like that, medical decisions, everybody on our medical staff, which I have a slide for later at the end of this presentation, I'll go over and share those details then. Okay, so this slide here, I wanted to mention, I don't know if you guys can see my guide on top, and I'm going to move it down for a bit. This is the attendance and checkout slide. And this is probably something all parents are asking. We did get parents and guardians who called us last week and today asking if I need to check out my child, what is the procedure? If my child needs to miss Tuesday or Wednesday, can they go back on the last day on Thursday to attend that last day? Those questions, yes, you can definitely check out your child. If they're going to miss a day, that's totally fine. They're more than welcome to come back the next day. What we would like from parents and guardians is a heads up. Okay, so if you know that your child is going to be checked out or they're going to miss a day, just give us a heads up so that we can let their facilitators know that Willie Jack is not going to be there for Tuesday, or Willie Jack is going to be checked out at 2 o'clock or 2:30 p.m. so that we can give those facilitators a heads up. Now, going into checkout protocol, to ensure the safety of all campers, all camper checkouts will be carried out by camp coordinators and/or medical staff. So this also includes Vanessa, who is a point of contact at the junior high. So if a child does need to be checked out, please call us at one of those numbers in the slide that I just showed. Again, this will be sent out to you guys, but you can call us. We will arrange and get hold of your child wherever they're at. They might be in a sport, they might be in arts and crafts, or they might be in the lesson for that day, for that time period. So we'll get in contact with them. One of our co-facilitators or support staff will bring your child to the front, and then you will sign off as the parent or guardian. As you see on the right here, we have a checkout form. So this is what you will sign as you're checking out your student for the day, okay? Facilitators, coaches, and support staff should notify camp coordinators if a camper needs to leave. So again, the same process. Campers will be released to the designated parent or guardian listed on the registration form only. However, other trusted adults can check out campers if the parent or guardian has provided verbal or written consent. So this is crucial for those of you who had registered your child, and let's say you're at work and the oldest sister over the age of 18, that's a trusted adult. They can definitely come and check out, but we would need that verbal or written consent from you, the person who registered the child, okay? We're not going to allow anybody else to check out your child unless you have given verbal or written consent. Raffle tickets. So this is where attendance does come into play. Campers will earn 1 ticket per full day of attendance. On the last day of camp, we'll have 4 winners per school, and they will be announced during lunch. So if you know your child's going to be there all 4 days, that increases their chance of winning one of the raffle prizes. I don't know if Brittany, if you can jump on to kind of share with everybody here what the raffle prizes look like.
So yeah, so what we kind of based off the raffle items is we wanted to go by the sports that they're going to be participating in. So one of the prize is that they'll receive like a basketball goal, and then for the volleyball sports, they'll receive almost like is it called like a rebounder? Like
Yeah,
where
rebounder.
so there's that, and then the second one is a lacrosse set, and then the last one is I'm spacing this one
I
out.
think it's a disc golf set.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a disc golf set. So
So that's what the raffle items are gonna be. Um so yeah,
yeah, thanks, Brittany. So
you're welcome.
again, campers will earn 1 ticket per full day of attendance. So if your child does get checked out, then they probably wouldn't be a part of the full day of attendance. However, if they come the next day, full day, then they'll be entered into the raffle. So we'll be announcing those raffle winners on Thursday during lunch. So if your child does win, they're pretty big items, and so us camp coordinators will arrange and communicate with you the prize pickup. So just a heads up on that. All right, so now we're going to go into activities for camp. We have several items on our agenda. So we'll have arts and crafts. We'll have time for sports, a morning and an afternoon sport. And then we have the curriculum that we kind of talked about from the beginning. So we have Y-Tri curriculum for grades kindergarten to 5th grade, NativeVision curriculum for grades 6 to 12, and motivational interviewing for grades 6 to 12. For arts and crafts time, I think every student is going to be a part of like a 45-minute to an hour every day through arts and crafts. We'll have things like painting, beading, and hands-on art that the kiddos will be able to work on during that hour or 45 minutes, and they'll be able to take home at the end of the day. We're also going to have a leather workshop, and this is only for the high school for grades 6 to 12 because they'll be working with some needlepoint things. And then we have sports. Again, we have 4 sports for the summer camp: basketball, volleyball, disc golf, and lacrosse. And as Barb mentioned, we have coaches from all over who are going to be kind of sharing skills and valuable words in terms of becoming a team player, things like that. So they'll be hosting and setting up little clinics here and there during their sport hour. All right, so this is one that I want to take some time on, is breakfast and lunch. This is our breakfast and lunch menu. I hope that you guys can all see this pretty clearly. In the registration form, there was a space for parents and guardians when you're registering your kids where you could put food allergies. For those students who have food allergies or other like special needs in terms of like medication, things like that, all facilitators will be noted who those students are, so that we'll be well aware of the to-dos and whatnots, okay? And so Monday, this is what our schedule looks like. This is free. You know, your kids don't have to pay for breakfast and lunch. This is going to be provided for them. So breakfast will start at 7:30 each morning. So from 7:30 to 8 a.m., that's going to be breakfast time at both schools. Okay. And lunch is ranging from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So you'll take a look at the schedule right after this, but you'll know where your registered child is going to have breakfast and what time they're going to have lunch. But this is our menu. This is the school district food service. They are providing our menu and our food to us. So we're very fortunate to not only have just breakfast and lunch, but we added on a snack for them since we are going from 8 o'clock to 4 p.m. So for Monday, they'll be having biscuits and gravy with sausage, sliced peaches, and orange juice. For lunch, they'll have pulled pork nachos, cheesy refried beans, a fresh apple, and milk. And then for a snack, they'll have an apple cinnamon Nutri-Grain bar and Capri Sun. Tuesday for breakfast, it's breakfast pizza with a fresh orange and milk. For lunch, it's going to be orange chicken with rice, steamed broccoli, diced peaches, and orange juice. And for a snack, they'll have orange juice and string cheese. For Wednesday, they'll have a country breakfast bowl with toast with diced pears and apple juice. For lunch, they'll have spaghetti and meatballs with breadsticks, green beans, fresh orange juice, or fresh orange, and then 1% milk. For snacks, they'll have tiger bites, chocolate graham crackers, and apple cherry juice. For Thursday, they'll have cinnamon toast crunch cereal, a fresh apple with milk. Lunch, pepperoni pizza, tater tots, mandarin oranges, and grape juice. And then for a snack, they'll have a fresh apple, apple juice, and goldfish. You guys are more than welcome, parents, guardians, you're more than welcome to pack, lunch for your kiddo, especially if you don't think they will like orange chicken with rice. Um, so you're more than welcome to do that if you'd like to pack their lunch for that day. Same with breakfast if you'd like to do that as well. But again, for those campers that have food restrictions, will be able to share that back with their facilitators so that they are noted. Okay. Also, throughout camp, we did a very, very big shipment of bottled water. So each classroom, and even during the lunch in the cafeteria, will have bottled water on hand. There'll also be bottled water at each sport. So if your child is in volleyball, they'll have water there. Basketball, they'll have water there. Lacrosse and disc golf, they'll have water on site. We'll also have ice especially for those at the outdoor sports, because it will be hot. We'll have ice available. So if your student would like to bring a water bottle, they're more than welcome to put some ice in there and then dump some water in there from the bottled water that they will receive. Okay, so getting into the schedule, I want to be mindful of time. It's 6:41. We still have some things to discuss, but this is what the schedule will look like for second grade at this is supposed to be at the Chinle Junior High. Sorry. Okay. So again, we have kindergarten through fifth graders at the junior high, but they will be separated. So kindergarten through second grade will have their own classrooms, and then third through fifth grade will have their own classrooms. Okay, so I just want to we'll go through this schedule one by one. So for next Monday, when they arrive, again, breakfast is from 7:30 to 8. So they'll have breakfast, and then they'll go right into one of these two. So for right now, we have 6 classrooms that will consist of kindergarten to second grade. Kindergarten through second grade is our biggest amount of students, so we are doing our best to make the facilitator and student ratio 2 facilitators for every 15 students. Okay, so if you can imagine
It's
one
8 to 4.
so if you can imagine one classroom, it'll be 2 facilitators for
Margaret.
15 students.
Better than one staying here.
Those of you who are online, if you can mute yourselves, thank you. I don't have the ability for some reason to mute. Okay, so they'll be going, so again, kindergarten through second grade is our biggest group of students. And so we had to divide the morning sport and with the PE games type. So let's say one of your campers is in group A, but group A1 for that time being. So they will start their morning sport with disc golf at 8, and then they'll switch to PE games about 9:15. So that's what we're hoping for. And then their next activity would be arts and crafts from 10 to 10:45, and then they'll have a transition period to clean up their classroom, and then they'll go into lunch A. So all kindergartners, first graders, and second graders will have lunch from 11 to 11:45. And then at 11:45, they'll clean up and then transition to their Y-Tri classrooms, which will be the same classrooms as their arts and craft classrooms. So they'll be there with their facilitators, and then they'll go into an activity block and rest time. So of course, right, kindergarten to second graders, they are pretty much going to be tired after lunch, after a lesson. So this is a really time for them to rest with board games and coloring, things like that for about an hour. And then they're going to end their day with their indoor sport. So for Monday, the indoor sport for them is going to be volleyball. All right. And then Tuesday, the only thing that changes is their sport. So they'll arrive for breakfast and then they'll go straight into lacrosse or PE game. And then their afternoon sport will be basketball. And then Wednesday, they'll have volleyball and disc golf again. For those who are in third to fifth grade, that's a little bit different. As you can see here, there's not a split between the sports because they have a little less students in their grade. So third to fifth grade, they'll have breakfast from 7:30 to 8. They'll be picked up by their facilitators after breakfast, and then they'll be led to volleyball in the indoor court at the junior high. And then after volleyball, they'll go into arts and crafts, and then they'll go straight, after arts and crafts, they'll go straight into their lesson for the day, and then they'll be in lunch B. So all third, fourth, and fifth graders will have lunch from 12 to 12:45. They'll also have an activity block and resting time from 1 to 2. And again, this is where they can do like coloring sheets, paint by numbers, board games, things like that. And then they'll end their day with their outdoor sport. So disc golf and volleyball are the first day for third and fifth graders. And then Tuesday, they'll switch to basketball for their morning sport and lacrosse in the afternoon. And then the same thing for Wednesday and Thursday. All right. Again, we'll send this out to you and we'll also send the recording link. And this is the high school schedule. This is for grades 6th to 8th and 9th to 12th. So those of you who have campers that are from 6th to 12th grade, this is what their schedule is going to look like. So Monday, they will, again, breakfast is from 7:30 to 8. Their facilitators will pick them up from breakfast and take them to their morning sport. For 6th to 8th grade, their morning sport is going to be basketball. And then for 9th to 12th grade, they're going to go right into their NativeVision lesson, and then they're going into their field sport from 8 to 11. So you'll see that it's a little bit different here. And then the lunch is also going to be different times for these two groups. So for 6th to 8th graders, they will have lunch from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. And 9th to 12th graders will have lunch from 12 to 1 p.m. As you can see here in the middle, it's a little bit different because we'll have for 6th to 8th graders on Monday, They will have from 12 to 1 after lunch, they'll have their arts and crafts. And this is where our motivational interviewing facilitators will pull students to just give them that extra support. As Barb said from the very beginning, that's all motivational interviewing is. It's just additional support for those students. But on Tuesday and Thursday, the thing that switches out for all grades is leather work. Okay, so Tuesdays and Thursdays, they'll have leather work facilitation for 6th to 8th grade. And also for 9th to 12th grade. So that's a little bit different here. For 9th to 12th graders, they will have lunch from 12 to 1, and then they go right into their indoor sport for basketball. So it kind of alternates, as you can see through the schedule here. So 6th to 8th graders, their indoor sport is in the morning. And their outdoor sport is in the afternoons. For 9th to 12th graders, they start their lessons immediately, and then they go into their field sport, and then their afternoon sport is their indoor sport, so basketball and volleyball. Okay. All right. Now we're going to go into transportation. And so this is where I'm going to go ahead and hand it back to Barbara.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Chris. So a huge shout out to our Chinle Unified School District Transportation Department. They're making this huge, I guess it's a huge part of the camp. In order for us to have campers, we need to get bus drivers out there. They do this every day. They know the communities. A lot of the students who go to school at Chinle Unified School District probably know them. And for those who maybe haven't made their way to the Chinle Unified School District but are planning to, are going to get to know some amazing bus drivers. So to talk a little bit about transportation, I'm going to share a couple of the communities that we're going to target very quickly. So these, do keep in mind that the first day is going to be like a trial. We tried our best to pinpoint the times of pickup and drop off for a lot of these. Over the camp time, it might change a little. So it's like fluctuating. You might be waiting a little longer for the bus to get back. Maybe there was traffic that happened, but just be mindful that we did our best that we could to pinpoint times for pickup and drop off. So for those of you who are living in the Rough Rock area, and this includes like anywhere towards Chilchimbito, up towards, Black Mesa, that back road, and then going further out, we do have 2 locations for pickup in the Rough Rock area. So the chapter house, we start off in the morning at 7 a.m., but we also have the drop-off times below at 4:45. So given that, again, times can change. If something were to happen, do keep that in mind that we are going to try our best to stick with this. Transportation and ourselves have worked together to come up with this schedule. So it's to really just accommodate the youth, that we were not having you guys sit there for a long period of time. So the first stop will be at the Rough Rock chapter. And again, if you have your phone, you can take this out. We are still trying to figure out how we can get this across all the parents. It is a huge file, so I know a lot of us aren't going to be wanting to get this in email, trying to open it and wait for it to load. And then our second stop in Rough Rock is going to happen at midway between Rough Rock and Many Farms. This one is really tricky. There's a certain milepost, I think it's milepost 7, within that area. So it's like 7 miles from Many Farms is where we're kind of anticipating this drop off to happen. If you guys have any more questions about like, hey, Barb, Rough Rock drop off number 2, I need a little bit more information about that, please call me. I think the best way for us to talk about this is for me to explain it through a phone. If you're living in that area, if you're familiar with it, maybe it has a certain name that you could call it. But if you know of this area, there will be 2 locations, and that one's going to be at 7:15. When the bus leaves Rough Rock, it'll be coming straight to Chinle. So it's only going to make the 2 stops there. So hopefully we have a good amount of students. And then we move into Many Farms. We tried to be mindful. We do have 8 buses that are going to be out there. We tried to cover as much of, the local areas as we possibly could, and do know that these buses are going within the Chinle Unified School District routes. They don't go any further, so we can't ask a bus to go into Hard Rock or Forest Lake or, all the way into Ganado. They only go as far as their limits will allow them, and the district does have limits on those. Go ahead and go to the next, Chris.
Yeah, I just also wanted to point out to folks that the bus will probably wait for a maximum 5 minutes. So, and that's what they could give us. And so, parents, this is where you come in as your responsibility to get your kids to the bus stops. And again, if you need a little bit more details on what those bus stops are, you can reach out to Barb.
Yeah. Thanks for that, Chris. I know it's a really small window for getting to the bus, but trying to plan ahead now that we know, okay, camp's happening Monday, got to get ready for this. In many farms, we start off at the chapter house, and the pickup time is going to be 7 a.m. And then they make their way back into Chinle. The second stop is going to happen at the windmill at 7:15. And then the last one before you get back into Chinle is in many farms. It's the turnoff that goes, the road that goes across the wash. So those are 3 locations in mini farms where you can go. And then drop off, it's kind of, we leave the school about 4:10, 4:15, and then they're going to be there at 4:25, 4:35, and 4:45. So keep those times in mind for the mini farms. If you have any questions, again, please contact me for specifically these specific areas. Go ahead and go to the next, Chris. And then we have our Round Rock chapter. So they're only going from Round Rock all the way to the high school in the mini farms and then coming straight back into Chinle. The first stop will be at the Round Rock chapter at 6:30. Second one is going to be at what they call the Begays turnoff. I think is it more commonly known as that? A lot of people know like the Begays live there, and then Brittany's smiling. So I think I'm right. I'm kind of right, but it's right before you get to the turn going towards the Mars area, what they call the Mars. So there's that only distinct turnoff that goes to the south. We'll be stopping there at 6:45. And then we go to what they call the banana curve. So that really long curve, as soon as you cross the bridge coming from Round Rock, that's going to be the third stop at 7. And then all the way to Many Farms High School. So this one is right before you get onto campus, across from the first housing past the church. That's where the bus is going to pull off, and it's going to pick up students at 7:15. And then coming back, the drop off is going to be 4:30. Banana curve is going to be 4:45. The Begays turn off at 5, and then into Round Rock chapter at 5:15. So all these 4 locations, if you can get your student to there, would be super helpful. Next, we have our Lukachikai, Taylor, Del Muerto route. So Lukachikai, where we have 1 spot for pickup, unless we get like 20 more students who really desperately want us to go to like Totso or something like that. Speedway is up and running. So I'm so happy that the community has the store back. We'll be parked there at 6:30 for pickup. 6:35, we'll be leaving and heading into Taylor at the Alon store at 6:45. So if you missed the first bus in Lukachikai, chase that one all the way to Taylor and you can catch them there. And then our third one is going to be at the Del Muerto Head Start. So we'll be pulling into there. So again, 5 minutes. It's a very small window, but also be mindful and careful when you're trying to get to these buses. Like the worst scenario is you can't get them there and they miss camp for a day. There's always the next day. So just kind of be ready for that. Drop off times at Del Muerto Head Start at 4:35, Taylor Alon Store 5, and then LA Speedway at 5:15. And then we have our Pinon Blue Gap area. So Blue Gap store is going to be our very first stop at 6:30. And then we're going to make our way. Sorry, this one's a little confusing right here. They overlap, but the second stop is the top one that says stop 2. That's going to be at the Blue Gap Old Cottonwood Trading Post. So it's near a 2-story house. And I don't know if there's a specific name for that road, but that's going to be the second stop. So I think it's the only 2-story that you see. It's literally right across from there in Cottonwood. The third stop is going to be at what they call the Four Corners, and I think that's the road that goes south towards Salina Springs. So that's going to be the third stop. And then the fourth one, we're making a courtesy stop at Highway 491. So the drop-off time, our pickup for that is 7:15. So that one's an early route as well. Drop-off for that is at the 491 is at 4:30, and then going back to the Four Corners at 4:45, to the old trading post at 5, and then down to Blue Gap store at 5:30. Then we have our Ganado Noslini. So Noslini Chapter House is going to be the first stop at 7. And then the only other stop in that area is going to be the NHA housings. So it's going to be the first stop when you're coming from the chapter house. The bus is going to stop right there specifically. So if you have anybody living at the further end of the NHA, they would have to make their way to that stop there. And then pickup time or drop off time is gonna be at 4:30, and then Noslini chapter at 4:45. And then we have Spider Rock. Right now, we don't have a lot of stops for Spider Rock, but we all know where the trail for Spider Rock, the road goes towards Spider Rock, and then this one goes towards Sawmill. It's literally at the end where the highway ends and the dirt road begins. I feel like I'm gonna sing a song right now. That's where the bus is gonna go. So the pickup time is at 7 a.m. and the drop off time is gonna be at 4:45. And then our last route, we're trying to accommodate. So usually last year we didn't do a Chinle route. This year we're being mindful that we do have babies coming on to the bus with little kindergartners, all the way up to fifth graders. So we want to be accommodating to them. The Coca-Cola Road all the way into the Baldwins, that literally where that pin is at, the pickup time is gonna be at 7 a.m. So if you can get your kids to that intersection, we're going to pick them up from there. And then it's going to go across all the way to the Chinle Sunnyside housings at 11:15. And again, we just pinpointed the middle section of that area. So the bus is going to kind of do a circle around there, but make sure you have them at that specific place at 7:15. If they're waiting along the road, the route that goes out, comes in, just kind of wave the bus down. It's going to be the only bus in the area in that time because nothing else is happening. There's no summer school. And of course, make sure it's our bus by asking if it's the NativeVision Hozho Horizons and confirm with the bus driver. But we'll also have signs on the bus that indicate that. Last route is the one over at the Chinle Sunset. It's the cul-de-sac. So we're gonna stop there, do a turnaround, wait 5 minutes. The pickup time for that one, 7:25, drop off is 4:20. So do keep those in mind that we are going to be in the Chinle area. If you have, unfortunately, people who are at the hospital, you would have to bring them down to the school. That's the only place we didn't go unless there are more kids who register from there. But for now, these are the only 3 routes we have for Chinle. I think that's all we have for the transportation. But if you have any questions, please reach out.
Yeah. So one thing that going back to talk about transportation, I know we're at 7 o'clock right now, but if you guys could stay on a little bit longer, we want to go through rules and expectations. And as Barb said, we do have a lot of kindergarten through second graders, which is great. However, those parents and guardians who registered and said yes for kindergarten to second grade, yes to transportation, it's highly, highly encouraged that you bring your student in person on the first day. That way we can go ahead and assign them a bus pass. So if not, that's okay too, but you just really need to make sure that they get on the right bus for that first day. All bus riders for kindergarten through fifth grade at the junior high will receive a bus rider pass. So they'll have this once they come in on the first day. So that the bus drivers will know who is a bus rider or not. Okay, so whoever is a bus rider will get one of these passes. All right, so I just wanted to ensure that and let you guys know. Communication with your kids is going to be like something that we hope you guys can do in terms of bus riders. Okay, so going into rules and expectations, we wanted to make sure that everybody is aware that there's a zero tolerance for bullying. Bullying of any kind, including cyberbullying, harassment, or intimidation, will not be tolerated. Okay. So, again, speak with your kiddos about this if they plan on attending camp, that there should be no bullying of any kind, especially those who are doing sports for the first time. We do have experienced campers for each sport. But we just don't want anyone to make fun of someone else because this is their first time hitting a volleyball, spiking a volleyball, or shooting a basketball. Okay, so speak to your kids about that. Behavior expectations. Please follow all Chinle Junior High and Chinle High School rules, as well as camp-specific rules at all times. Facilitators will outline rules during classroom time, so students will be well acquainted with what those rules are. It's really just respecting each other, keeping their hands to themselves, and things like that. They must show cooperation and respect towards all camp staff, fellow campers, and volunteers. There is to be no weapons, drugs, or alcohol allowed, and this includes no energy drinks allowed for health and safety reasons. And this is a school district-wide policy. So those campers that are going to be coming at CHS, we don't want to see Red Bulls or Monster. We're going to immediately tell them to trash it. So please, parents, just make sure that they're not bringing that on campus. Attendance and safety. All parents, guardians, and trusted adults are encouraged to notify camp staff if a camper will be absent, late, and or checked out. So please, we are very strong communicators, all of our facilitators, so we want to make sure that that's reciprocated. If your child needs assistance, please inform staff right away. Again, on the registration form, it asks if there are any medications, allergies, physical limitations, all of that. Please let us know. Or if there's any changes to that, please let us know. We will have an electronics policy, so electronic device use will be limited during camp hours. If there are phones out during curriculum times or activity times, it just goes back to the facilitators. If they ask your child to put away, please also discuss that with your child before coming to camp. Dress code and weather. So wear camp appropriate clothing that is respectful and suitable for active play. Again, as you saw from the schedule, each camper will have a morning sport and an afternoon sport. So there will be some campers who will be outdoors in the morning time, and there'll be some campers who will be outdoors in the afternoon time. So it will be pretty hot. So please, we recommend hats and sunscreen. Our camp staff are not allowed to put on sunscreen or change clothes unless an accident occurs, okay? So if you want your child to wear sunscreen or bring a change of clothes, they must change their clothes themselves, and either they or yourself as parent guardian will have to put sunscreen on them before coming to camp, all right? Please have your campers come to camp with closed-toed shoes. This will be required for all sports and physical activities. I put no Crocs on here because we did have some injuries before with students who were wearing Crocs. So we do want people to have appropriate footwear. Other things that did come up when we were discussing, rules and protocol. Campers should be potty trained or able to use the restroom on their own. This is especially for kindergarten through second grade. Please, parents, abide by this as much as possible. Again, we are not allowed to assist in this part of it. So please, all campers should be potty trained and able to use the restroom on their own. Other thing to know is those who put medication in the registration form. Our camp nurses cannot administer medications. So that falls on the responsibility of parents and guardians. You will need to come on site to administer medications during those times. So if you're thinking about your child right now and you're thinking about, oh, they're not yet fully potty trained, or they have medication that needs to be administered throughout the day, then honestly, maybe it's not a good thing to have the child at camp. Okay, so just considering all of those things, that's what we wanted to share. Also, please encourage your child or children to participate in all sports and physical activity and classroom activities. They might be not so well attuned to doing disc golf, but it's pretty fun. So camper feedback from last year was that they never knew what lacrosse or disc golf was until they tried it, and they had a blast at the end of the day. So we encourage everyone to participate. And this is the last of our slides before we go into Q&A. This is our medical staff. So again, if you want to pull out your phone and screenshot this, we do have medical staff a part of our team. So we have Starla Garcia, who is one of our Chinle High School nurses, Cheryl Frank, who is the school district high school nurse, Katie Nelson, who is our center staff nurse that will be at the junior high. And then the CUSD junior high nurse is LaQuinta Francis Mitchell. And then we will also have Robin Cook, who is an IHS counselor, be available for us to assist should anything come up. In case of emergencies or injuries or community threats, what have you, should something arise, all camp coordinators will communicate out to parents immediately. I think a lot of you are attached to that text message system that we kind of had set up in addition to emails. And so that's one way that we'll send out and communicate anything that happens, either to your child specifically, we'll reach out through phone or text. Or if it's something within the community, a community threat, we'll also make sure that everybody is notified. Camp coordinators will work with medical staff and school principals if needed and will follow appropriate guidelines. If there is an emergency where we do need to contact EMS, we'll make sure that the parents or guardian of that student or students will be well aware before connecting to emergency services. Our camp rule, again, we had a camp staff meeting earlier today. I shared with them the camp rule. If you hear something, if you see something, report it immediately. So all of our camp staff are following that golden rule. I also want to give time to Starla Garcia, who is our center nurse at the high school. So Starla, if you can come on and unmute, I'd like Starla to kind of introduce herself and just share a little bit of some examples from last year's camp. We didn't have big emergencies, but if Starla, you could kind of just touch upon like some examples that occurred from last camp.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Kristen. My name is Starla Garcia. I am the research nurse supervisor for the Chinle Infectious Disease team for Johns Hopkins Center for Indigenous Health. I've been working with the center now for 5 years. That was this past June. And last year, I was able to assist with this program. We had a good turnout. It was really fun. Even my kids came and joined and participated in the program as well. And they liked it, and they will be returning again this year. Some of the things that we experienced last year during the program was a case, a student came to one of the classrooms with head lice. So we used the school protocol, just identified the student, we notified the family, and we used the school protocol to let them inform the family that they need to be treated before they can come back to the camp. So they weren't able to come back that week, but the family was notified and they got treatment for that. Another thing that we had on site was a sports injury. The patient did get injured out playing on the field one afternoon, but it was not a serious injury. It was really minor, but we also did notify the family right away, and they chose to go ahead and pick up the child, and that was just following school policy as well. Another thing was allergies. Another thing, because the kids are outside, it's windy, it's hot. They did experience some allergies. There was no medicine given or anything like that. In the end, the patient didn't want, and the family didn't want any medicines to be given, and the parent did let them stay on site until bus time. So those were the main things that came up and that we had to assist our campers with last year. But other than that, we are here on site to provide any kind of medical guidance. We are in close contact with parents. So the forms that you fill out in the beginning is really important to us. So we know who to contact, the first line of contact, and then emergency contact as well. So thank you, everybody, and looking forward to another great camp.
Yeah, thank you, Starla. I think there are a few campers that, in terms of medication, they have either an EpiPen or asthma inhalers. And so as long as they can self-administer that, that's totally fine. Yep. So thank you, Solar, for giving those examples. And that's it from us for now for this presentation. Again, everybody will receive access to the recording, and we'll go ahead and take questions if there's any at this time. Should you have any questions after today, you're more than welcome to contact our behavioral health office. This is our number here, 928-674-6824. Or again, you can contact us by email. My email is here, kmitch51@jxu.edu. Barb's email is there, bharvey7@jxu.edu, and Brittany's email is also there, bbegay3@jxu.edu. So I'm going to go ahead and stop share for right now, and we'll go ahead and take some questions. Brittany and Vanessa, were we able to tackle all the questions coming from the chat?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
Barb and Rochelle actually answered most of the questions, but
Okay.
so there's no new questions that I see.
The only tricky one,
One
and I did
question.
say yes, Chris, was the backpacks. It doesn't require them to have clear backpacks, but I did tell them they can bring regular. They just abide by the rules, same rules the school has. Sorry, I cut someone off. Go ahead.
Yes, we had a question about the food restrictions. So our daughter has lactose intolerance and it's on her notes. But there's like certain restrictions and like some foods are fine, like cheeses, but like milk is a definite no. Who do we contact in order to make sure that she's able to eat certain foods, so she's not left out for like the pizza and stuff like that?
Yeah, so one thing to know is that our menu is set. Um, that's our menu is set, and so there's not additional items or there's not additional foods that we can order at this time since it's already right around the corner. So I would encourage for those who have like big food restrictions, they're facilitators. So your students will be on different rosters for different facilitators. Again, for kindergarten through second grade, there'll be 6 classrooms divided up between those students, and then third to fifth grade, they'll be divided up into 4 classrooms, and at the high school, 3 classrooms for grade 6 to 8, and then 2 classrooms for 9 to 12th graders. But the facilitators that are assigned to your student, they will have a full roster that includes if there's like medications or like things to note like asthma or inhaler or even food allergies, those facilitators will be noted going into the lunchtime. But for those who have food restrictions, again, our menu is set, so unfortunately we don't have other options to provide. However, I encourage you guys to have your children pack their own breakfast and lunch if that's what you would like. But
Sounds good. Thank you.
yeah, but to your question, if you just want to be 100% sure, you're more than welcome to email me or Barb. So maybe we can put our emails again in the chat, but again, we'll do a follow-up email that consists of this recording, in addition to the PowerPoint that we kind of just shared. But you're more than welcome to email us. So I think for now, I'll go ahead and put mine, and then Barb and Brittany, you guys are more than welcome to put yours in the chat as well.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Also, sorry, one more question. I just wanted to verify. So um the K through 5 or K through 2, either one will just be at Chinle Junior High, correct?
Correct. Yep. So
Okay, yeah, because there
kindergarten.
was a typo on one of the slides. I just wanted to double check.
Yeah, that's I'll make sure to change that before I
Okay,
send it out. But
all right,
yes,
thank you.
all kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth graders, they will be at the junior high.
Got it. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you for asking. Like I mentioned, we're all parents ourselves. Myself, Barb, Brittany, and Marlena. And so a lot of the information that we shared came from the minds of us as parents. So no question is a bad question. Let us know because we want to make sure that you guys all feel safe as parents bringing your kids to camp next week. One thing that we had noticed, just so that we also want to share this back, from the Shiprock camp, there were some campers who didn't want to participate in the sport, either volleyball or basketball. And so we imagine that that might happen for camp next week, and that's totally fine. If one of the days they just don't want to participate, then we are having those students go into a separate room. And what we will do there is do like fun arts and craft kind of things. So paint by numbers, coloring books, board games. We'll have a space for them to do that.
I think with that, on that note, Chris, it's still very important to encourage your child, like, hey, just try it. You might like it. The whole purpose of camp is like we get there, we get physically active. I hope it's not just to get the kids out of the house for a few hours, but for them to really experience um like the true camp style, going to camp during the day, being away from home, being physically active to encourage. But of course, we know we have like students who are just like, I'm more comfortable inside doing other things. We will accommodate those as well, but really just encourage them, like just try new things. It's going to be it's a wonderful experience overall.
Any other questions? Okay. So myself, Barb, and Brittany will probably stay on for another 5 minutes, but everybody else, thank you again for attending our parent meeting tonight. You're more than welcome to log off. We'll be available the rest of the week. Again, if you want to email us or call the main office, it's 928-674-6824. And again, I'll share our phone numbers specifically if you'd rather text us. So thank you for
And encourage
coming.
your family and friends. There's still time to register. We will be closing registration until this coming Friday. So tell them to send, your nieces, nephews, grandbabies, anyone to camp. And we appreciate you guys trusting us 100% with your child these span of 4 days. And we're super excited.
What would be the bus route for milepost 453 down the valley?
Is that towards mini farms?
Yeah.
Okay, Chris, you want to bring up the mini farms
Yeah.
really quick, or did you?
Give me.
The stop will be at the windmill, the Valley Star windmill for that one.
Oh, we're like 5 miles north of Chinle.
5 miles north of Chinle. So I think one of the parents had said it. So I'm looking at the map. It will be the windmill would be the closest one. So I think there's also another one where the road goes across the wash. That
Right.
one is labeled about, I think it's not too far from the Jones.
I think
It-
it's were they saying Tortolina turnoff?
Oh, totally not turn off?
yeah. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so that's the bus stop for the evening drop off?
Both for the pickup
Both.
and the drop off.
Oh dear. Okay.
Yeah. And
So
then
we're
the
asking,
other
yep,
one,
so we're asking all parents and guardians at these bus stops, please, if you can get your kids to that bus stop during those times. These are the only stops that our bus drivers can make. So we can't accommodate for house to house pickup. So it'll be your responsibility to take your child to the bus stops.
so that's one of the stops. And then like another parent had mentioned, the other stop will be at the windmill. So if you're in between the Totalina turnoff or the windmill, those would be two opportunities for you if it's closer. And then other than that, it'll be all the way into the mini farms chapter. That's where they're going to start from. So
And again, just a gentle reminder that our buses will be there for about 5 minutes before they go to the next stop.
And then Colleen, or sorry, the person, is it Tiero? Just entering your question from there. The Lukachikai one at Speedway will be there. You are correct at 6:30. So 6:30 at Speedway is when the Lukachikai bus route will begin. So at 6:35 they will leave for the Saley Alon store. And
All
then
right, thank you.
Barbara?
Yeah.
Yeah, just a clarification on my part.